Hey everybody, welcome to Trading Capital's daily live stream of the market open. Today is currently May 15th as we kick off a brand new trading session. Hope everyone was rested, had a good weekend, had a happy Mother's Day, and is ready to tackle the markets once again. So first things, let's discuss what is moving, what is falling. So right now you have oil catching a nice little bounce. Oil is up just over 1%. You have natural gas making a big move up 3.24% right now. That's actually trying to break out here on the chart. So we'll just pull up that natural gas chart just to quickly discuss what is going on, because there is a potential, obviously we are long nat gas via swing trade, but there's always opportunities in amidst strong technical breakout patterns. So first thing I want you to pay attention to is that we broke out of this little bit of a bull flag pattern over here. You can see we're breaking consolidation. You had your confirmed breakout up here. So basically the next support level on nat gas is you want to hold above this key trend line. If you can do that, then the chances of us making a move up to this pivot could be very likely. It actually could happen today. Now, if it were to make a big move up to this pivot, you would want to see maybe a day or two of consolidation, choppy sideways action to digest this move up. But nat gas is stair-stepping its way up. You can see you had your initial bull flag pattern over here, breakout, another micro consolidation, and you're trying to break out. So if we get a little bit more of a consolidation period above this key white trend line over here, holding this impulse green bar, we can look for nat gas on the long side, a long day trade. So pay attention to nat gas because it is trying to make a move higher. I do believe once we clear this 252 level, we could see a big squeeze to the upside. All right, in terms of other things, we did get the New York Empire State Manufacturing Index. Consensus was minus 3.7. It came in at minus 31.8. That is horrific. I mean, if that index isn't showing a recession, I really don't know what is at this point in time. But that index came in horrifically negative compared to what consensus. And really, it didn't do much to the dollar. It dropped it a little bit, but the dollar as of now is still technically holding bullish price action. It's holding above this key pivot zone right now as we speak. It's trying to hold the 50 moving average at 102.48. But right now the dollar looks poised to potentially move a bit higher. But obviously it did hit some major resistance, being the fact that it tagged this upsloping trend line as of Friday, and it needs to now consolidate to try to move through that big technical resistance area. And let me just adjust this line a little bit more so you can see it basically just tagged that area on Friday. All right, in terms of trade setups, you have China stocks moving up higher right now. That's probably due to the weaker dollar. So you have BABA gapping up. I have a short level on BABA. If BABA was to come up into this gap fill, basically in the first hour of trading, we can look to short BABA. Let's see, Baidu. That's actually catching a nice bid as well. That's much closer to its gap fill. So I would have to wait on Baidu. Let me see if there's another resistance. Basically this breakdown pivot over here, almost a double top kind of scenario on Baidu. So we're sitting at around 125.29. I would look for a fade opportunity off of that level. Yields are kind of just hovering right now. It's weird to see XOM down when oil's up and nat gas is up. So that's a little bit of a negative divergence that I am observing there. Couple of interesting movers. We have SoFi gapping lower, DuPont's under a little bit of pressure. ALB is up on the day. 10K shares of Magellan Midstream Partners soared 15.5% after 10K is acquiring them. Charles Schwab is slightly up. Shake Shack is down. Not too crazy movers right now, so we'll just have to see how these markets open. Crypto's obviously up. Bitcoin's up nicely. First Solar's down after that initial big pop-up, so we'll keep that on the radar. Nvidia's positive. Google's taking a bit of a breather today, so if we look at the price action in Google actually is gapping down today. The big question, if we actually lose this pivot here around this 116.55, you could go ahead and test this gap window. That might be a potential scalp long if it came straight into that level, but we're talking about Google's already down 1.2%. That would have to fall another 1.44%. Now, obviously, Google finished up on the week last week 11%. So to give back, 3 or 4% is certainly not that crazy of a move to the downside when it was up substantially. And you did have some insider selling that transpired in Google. You had a pretty important majority shareholder just taking profits on their Google position after it did have a pretty big pop. They sold a few million shares. Nothing in the grand scheme of picture that triggers a little bit of an unusual sell side price action, but a sell nonetheless. So pay attention to Google, because if it were to flush into maybe this gap window, I would consider going long on Google. Let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla's actually lower today, and this is bearish because of the fact that Elon announced a Twitter CEO, and it hasn't really moved it up higher. The big level I'm watching on Tesla is if we lose this key area. If we break this trend line, it is a short down to this gap fill. So I'm paying attention to Tesla very closely. Let's keep the spiders up. So the spiders are gapping up right now. If the spiders were to hit maybe 413, we could potentially look for a short. It's a little dangerous, but we'll see if it holds this gap up. We shall see. All right, so we have about 3 minutes to the open. I'm just going to change some of my charts around, settle in here, get a little vibe going here to see what is, again, moving. But practically China stocks are where the strength is. The Russell is also gapping up. I do have a short level on the Russell at a Pierce of 174, so keep the IWM on your screen. That is a potential short level. And then obviously we have a bunch of Fed speakers right now, 8:45, 9:15. Then we have some more coming in at around, let me just pull up my calendar here. Excuse me, we have Barkin speaking at 12:30. And then Fed Governor Cook speaks at 5 after the hour. So Fed speakers on now and later in the afternoon, which could be a little bit market moving, jawboning. So you could get some tape bombs, both to the upside and the downside. So we obviously have to be careful about taking long and short positions, because if they say something that the market likes, it could cause a big move to the upside. If they say something wrong that the market doesn't like, it could cause a quick initial drop. So Disney's under a lot of pressure again today. Disney is under a lot of pressure. All right, so get ready for this market open. We'll just settle in and see how things open. And we'll try to scroll through some charts to see if there's any trade setups right off the open. But keep those China stocks on your radar. And we'll just take it nice and slow on a Monday. All right, markets are open. Tesla's gapped down, Apple's gapped up, Nvidia's gapped down. Spiders are still hanging in there. So Apple's trying to push up. Tesla's getting a big dump here, guys. Tesla's dumping pretty hard here. So Tesla's actually breaking that key trend line here. That's actually a potential short on Tesla if we get a confirmed break of that level. It hasn't done it yet, but if the markets start to give up a lot of these gains, which we could be shaping up for a gap and crack, it looks like, at least off the open. Google's down 0.8. Nvidia's slightly up. PayPal's down again. Rivian's getting hammered. SoFi's down 7. Nvidia's seeing a little bit of sell side pressure right off the open. Paramount is reversing from the highs. Silver's hanging in there. Home builders are okay today. Commercial real estate is gapping up and seeing a little bit of strength as of now. AMD just went negative, seeing a harder sell-off. Keep Tesla on your radar. Spiders are still holding that gap up, but they are above the highs. The Russell's completely faded. Almost faded its whole move there. Gold is mixed right now. Oil's seeing some near-term downside. You have technology sector that just went red. All other sectors are green. But technology is the heaviest weighting. But you do have the Dow that just turned red and broker-dealers. So we have to watch for a potential downtrend to resume. So this market's actually likely going to be a fade opportunity if we push up even higher. I am watching it closely. Tesla's having a pretty big bounce. So that's still holding this key technical level. But it's still on watch for a short trade here, guys, because the spiders are fading. I'm still watching technology hovering around that positive to negative side. It's hanging in there. The Russell's holding up. Qs are holding up. Whoops, sorry, I'll just... Disney's obviously under a lot of pressure still. Nvidia's still fading. Spiders are now fading as well, guys. So spiders are fading. Meta's fading. First Solar's catching a bit. AMD. So semis are remaining quite elevated here. Google's pushed up, basically trying to go positive. There is a potential short on Google if it were to hit. Let me take a look here. And we'll keep Tesla because Tesla's breaking that trend line. If Google was to fill its gap, it's a short up there. But I'm like Tesla, it's a little bit weak right now, and it's hanging on by a thread. And I like it because it had a positive announcement of a Twitter CEO, and it's still not holding on. Look at this move. The spiders are about to go negative. So spiders are about to go negative. Disney's getting hammered right now, almost making new lows, testing the lows. Nvidia's about to go negative. So definitely some weakness in this market that we have to be mindful of. It's certainly not all rally mode as of yet. The spiders did fill the technical gap to the downside. You have the KRE, which is kind of holding up right now. IWM's still holding up. Let's take a look at some of these healthcare stocks. Big down move on SoFi as well. So Tesla's getting a bounce off that key level, holding. Spiders are still under pressure. SoFi is now down quite substantially, 9%. Alright, I'm looking at SoFi for a long here. I would have to wait. What are we down? 9%. Could it fall another 6? It's probably not going to. At least right off the open. I would look for a SoFi long at around this pivot here. 443. 443 is my technical level on SoFi. Look at this move to the downside. Negative on the spiders. Tesla's holding up though. Tesla's getting a nice bid though. So right now I'm seeing Nvidia push up, Apple's still positive, Microsoft seeing some downside, Tesla seeing some downside, but the spiders are negative. So there's a lot of selling occurring under the hood. Let's look at the Qs. Qs are still positive, holding up. So if the Qs lose steam here, that's not going to be positive for this market. But right now there is some selling that is occurring underneath the hood of this market right off the open. AMD's pushing up though, so semis are remaining strong. Home builders are definitely weak today. Still have the 2-year yield at 4. Let's do the GDX check. That's holding up okay. China stocks are still holding up right now. Baidu basically filled its gap to the upside. Baba never quite filled its gap. So Baba never quite filled this gap, but Baidu has. So notice how it faded right off the open. Gap fill, fade. Baba never quite got to its gap, but it is fading pretty sharply here. Let's look at coin. Coin is holding up right now, but almost to the negative side. You have AI up 8.14%. Interesting. Let's see where we can find a short level. Oof. This thing, the only real level I like is basically into this key pivot zone over here. Pierce of that 50, hitting kind of this double top move, because I know how quickly this can squeeze and move. I mean, you are coming up into some decent resistance here if you were to draw this trend line break, which you can see you're piercing it right now. But really, this one is a huge mover that you want to let it overshoot. So if SoFi, or I mean, if AI was to get up to 23.72, I would consider it. SoFi's still hanging in there. Apple's still catching a small bid. Nat Gas is trying to push up again. XOM is weak. What's this? GSIT. GSIT. That's had a big move to the upside. No trade there yet. Mara's positive. So Google actually went positive after having that big gap down. It is hitting that short level. It is hitting that short level. Just understand it's a strong name. It's a strong name right now. Nvidia's seeing some more heavier sell. Alright, I'm going to grab some Google short here at 118.26, guys. 118.26. It's a 1-6 position. And look at this. We're already getting a pullback. We're in the money about 21 cents here. So 118.26. Spiders are still acting weak. Next ad level on Google will be 118.85. And then 119.45, and we'll see how it basically gets into that level after that. 119, 120, 15. Alright, markets are still positive, but spiders and Qs are coming down. So Qs just turned negative right now. So Google should start to come in for us. Nvidia just turned negative. Apple just turned negative. Disney's getting demolished right now. Nvidia's turning negative. Look at that sell coming in on Nvidia. Wow, what a move down. Look at that Nvidia turning negative. Apple under pressure. Microsoft's also under pressure. So Microsoft had that big wick up. Huge selling. Huge selling. Google's coming in now. I'm looking for a move down in Google of about, you know, it was down all the way down here. You know, I could see it testing the lows again, especially if the market breaks down. But you don't want to be greedy. I mean, I could see $1. We could probably squeeze $1 out of this trade. I have 100 shares, so I'd like to see $1. Apple's coming down. Nvidia's coming down some more. Gold is slightly up on the session. Coca-Cola's holding up. McDonald's, let's take a look at McDonald's. Spiders are trying to get another little push up. McDonald's is slightly down today, but off of the lows. Markets are trying to get a little bit of a bounce here. KRE is ripping, so the regional banks are ripping right now. You're hitting hourly resistance. The Russell is coming up into a short level, at around a Pierce of 174. The Russell is a potential short, but you're getting a big move up in the market as of now. Just be mindful that Apple's weak right now. Apple's actually gone negative. And Microsoft's also weak. So when you have the two biggest companies, weighing in on this market, it's very difficult for the markets to move up. Home builders are also weak. That's a little bit of an indicator. You now have technology negative, healthcare negative, Dow negative, broker-dealers negative, industrials negative, staples negative, utilities negative. So we only have one negative sector at the start of the open. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sectors negative, plus the Dow and broker-dealers. So 7, 8 different sectors of this market negative. So the majority of this market is negative, and what that's telling me is that we could see some selling start to occur as well. Right now you're getting a bounce in the market, but definitely be mindful that all sectors are negative, or a majority of sectors are negative as of now. Google's holding up. Palantir's down. SoFi's down 10%. So let's look at SoFi because I am interested in a long trade. Hasn't quite hit our level yet. I'm looking at 443 to start a position. I may have to adjust that if we get bearish consolidation. But look at the Russell. The Russell's leading this market. I have a short on the Russell. Basically, you can see it almost hit that gap fill. Since we just missed that gap fill, I would have to wait for this pivot high now. But look at the KRE. KRE is ripping. Now the big question is, can the banks like PACW and WAL hold on, or do they give back these gains? We've definitely seen them get wiped out as we progress through this market. WAL is up nicely. PNC getting a nice bid. But the big question is, can they hold? And what I'm observing right now is a little bit of a market fade coming in to that indice, especially the IWM. Take a look at that. Interesting. Keep our eye on the QQQ and the spiders. Spiders are trying to come down a little bit more now. First Solar's coming down pretty hard right now. Meta, Yumc, Disney's testing the lows. Microsoft, Apple, Tesla's making a big move to the upside. Apple's still seeing some distribution though. You have the Qs trying to push higher. Technology now just slipped back to the green side. So technology is holding up. Google's pushing up to the next short level, guys. So Google's the strong horse today out of the tech plays. Google's definitely very strong as of now. Spiders are still acting a little bit weak right now, but mega caps are holding up. AMD's getting a big push. Qs are getting a big push here. Nvidia's getting a nice push. Spiders are still lagging. Qs are making new highs where the spiders are not, and the Russell's not. So you seem to be seeing more money flowing back into mega cap tech again. Alright, I'm going to add to my Google at this 118.85 level, 118.85. Markets are pushing up here. Google's almost at the next short level, so keep that on watch. We will add to our Google short at 118.85. SoFi still down 10%. Google never quite hit our thing. Spiders are still hugging that negative side, so they just went negative again. Look at the QQQ strength here. Qs are now reversing, so we could see more downside. Apple's actually weak today. So notice how Apple's weak. Microsoft has recovered, has gone positive again. Nvidia's pretty much recovered after that big initial sell side pressure. Tesla's acting well. It held that trend line that we were watching. So support was held for now. But the Qs are really the market mover right now because the spiders are weak, but the Qs are not. Look at Disney. Disney's making new lows. Wow. I have a level on Disney. Just if we look at this downsloping trend line here, you are creating a bit of this wedge pattern that I may consider playing on the long side if we were to flush down. I mean, there's a better level here at 90.42, but Disney, keep Disney on the radar because that is a potential long trade. Google's just hovering off our level. The Qs are still acting well. Notice the spider weakness putting in some bearish consolidation, but the Qs can lift it if they hold up. Again, I'm seeing now the spiders negative, Qs positive, Russell's positive. You have technology that's fighting for the negative and positive side. Healthcare is negative. You just have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sectors green. So materials, real estate, communications, discretionary, and financials are green. XOM's getting hit pretty hard here. So XOM is making new daily lows. I still have a long level on XOM at around 103.50 that I'm watching. Spiders are rolling over here. Spiders are rolling over. Google's rolling over. Apple's seeing more downside. Russell's still acting well. China stocks have gapped up. They're holding some of their gains, not all of them, but some. Nat gas is putting in some more bullish consolidation. All right, markets are falling a little bit more now, guys. Disney's coming into play. We may have a SoFi play. SoFi's almost at our level. Disney's coming down nicely, so I do like Disney. Well, I wanted to check Pinterest. Pins. Wow, look at that move on pins. How about Para? That's still weak today because of Disney. But Disney's looking a little more interesting, guys, for a long trade. Keep Disney. Appears that $91 gets me intrigued on Disney for a long trade. But just be mindful that the markets are weak right now. But we're looking at our Disney here. Qs are starting to come in a little bit more now. So look at the spiders. Look at the Qs, seeing more distribution. Disney is hitting some minor support right now. Google, we're flat on that trade. Disney's hitting support now, guys. I'm going to pick some up if we get a pierce of that 91. All right, there's 90.97. I am going to go long Disney here, 90.97. Long Disney, 90.97. So we are long Disney. We've telegraphed this one at that gap fill. I'll add to Disney if we get down to this 90.42 level. I will add to Disney if we get down to that level. So I'm still watching Google, of course. Flip to Google again. That's coming in a little bit here. We'll keep Disney on watch. All right, markets are seeing a little bit more downside now. Spiders are seeing another wave of selling. So that's going to hinder Disney from going higher. It's kind of nice that we have a short on Google, which has obviously been a relative strength, and we're playing the relative weak on the long side. So kind of have a little bit of a pair trade here in the Qs, where we're shorting one name in the Qs, we're long another name in the Qs. Apple's seeing more downside. Disney's back at that 90.97 level where we entered. So Disney is back at our entry. Google, we're in the money about 30 cents. First solar still coming down some more. Nat gas is trying to push up. The KRE is looking very strong right now. I have a shortable level on the KRE. Let me just do a double check of this level. Big gap up. 37.80 I would consider shorting the KRE, but we could be seeing money flowing out of the Qs into KRE. So what I'm noticing is now the KRE is super strong. And look at the Qs. You're seeing this downside move, especially in Apple. Apple's getting pummeled. Nvidia failed to make a higher high, so it made a lower high. You're also seeing Microsoft under a little bit of pressure. Google, obviously, we're watching. So the market's fading, but you're seeing money rotating into the regionals. And I do have a short level on the regionals if we were to get up to this 37.40. 37.40 is a level to short on the KRE, especially if it's a straight shot move. I'd love to see that. So Google is now basically also starting to see some more distribution. Disney's still at our level, hovering. Apple's down now 0.35%. Let's take a quick peek at SoFi again. SoFi is coming down some more now. And again, because you're seeing this buying pressure in SoFi where you have a bounce and then a fade, a bounce and then a fade, I don't like that. That's meaning that there's a lot of sellers lurking in this overall stock right now. So we'll just watch it closely. Obviously, we're still long Disney. That one's a little bit less stress-free. The Qs are still on the negative side. Look at this flush on the Qs that's coming in. It's a pretty big move down. Still watching Disney and Google. Google's trying to push back to the positive side again. Tech is negative. Healthcare's still negative. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 sectors red. 1, 2, 3, 4 green. And then you have the Dow and broker dealers negative. Lumber's negative. Copper's positive. So definitely weakness in this market for now. We'll have to continue to watch things and see how they progress. AMD's gone to the negative side. Meta's still holding up. So out of the communication stocks, Google and Meta are really holding XLC up. XLC is just slightly positive. And when you have Meta up over 1% and then Google also strong, it's very weird to only see the communication ETF up 0.1% when those two stocks alone represent about just over 42% weighting in the XLC. Disney's starting to move up. All right, I'm going to move a break-even stop loss on Disney to 91.10. So I am locking in at least 13-cent gain on this long trade. 91.10, I have a stop loss in on Disney. I'm still short Google, which I'm watching on my other screen. We're basically flat on that trade. We're still in Disney here. Every 10 cents that Disney moves up, we will move our stop up 5 cents. All right, I just got stopped out of Disney at 91.10. Stopped out at Disney for a little 13-cent gain. And again, I think that's smart to use stop loss, especially when you see the spiders and the Qs also breaking down today. So we'll keep Google on the radar now, but Disney's trying to push back up. I would be curious to go long Disney again if we've got a flush down to 90.42, or even if we take out this low in the next 10 minutes. Let's pay attention to Google because Google's still holding up. Did get a nasty reversal right there, but we'll see if that holds. The Russell's pushing up even higher now. All right, guys, so there's a short coming up on the Russell here. We're almost there. I believe it was 37.62 that I was looking at the Russell. Or it was the KRE. Yeah, 174.20 is a short on the Russell. The KRE is looking exceptionally strong right now, which it is coming up into a short level at 37.42. So keep the KRE on your watch for a short because we may have a play there. Google's still coming down, letting that puppy ride. Let's flip a look at these Qs. These Qs are still trying to hold. And what I'm seeing here is you have this upsloping trend line that the Qs broke on Friday, and then they had that magnificent retrace back to that breakdown zone, and now they're getting rejected there. So that same seller that brought the markets down early on looks to be also holding that area right now. Crypto seeing a little bit of sell side pressure now. You have Meta starting to give up a lot of the gains that it had initially. Pulte Homes is starting to come in a little bit sharper now. Silver's holding up. Steel stocks are okay today. Disney's coming back down. Markets are catching a bounce because of Apple. You have communications that are just hanging on. Right now you only have 1, 2, 3, 4 sectors green. Communications, financials, materials, and energy. Even with the big move in the Russell, you still have a majority of sectors down. And that just really emphasizes and shows the weighting of the Qs in this indice. Google's still strong here. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. Qs are still acting weak though. You have Disney making a new low here, so I am intrigued on Disney again. Alright, I'm going to go long Disney here at 90.92. Long Disney. 90.92. Just a 1/5 position. 90.92 on Disney. So it's even a little bit lower. It's 2 cents lower. We are breaking this little wedge pattern now, but we haven't confirmed below it. And often the market makers love to pierce this level and make it look like it's having a technical breakdown right before they push it right back up. So we're kind of still shorting Google. I'm seeing Tesla. Wow, look at Tesla, guys. Tesla is a short now. Tesla is triggering this breakdown. Holy, look at that breakdown, guys. So now how to play this is we wait for a retrace, and I apologize for the lawnmower in the background. Tis the season of grass cutting. Love the smell of fresh grass in the morning. Tesla's breaking this trend line. So this is a gap fill short now. So now we can look for a move down to about this 160, 148. But I don't want to chase it. I want to see a retrace and rejection at this 167 level. That's how I'm personally playing it. But I am watching Tesla closely. I'm watching Tesla very, very closely. So we'll pull up the QQQ since that's primarily where our Google trade is and our Disney trade. They're both part of the Qs. But I am watching Tesla break down pretty hard here. Wow, Tesla's not even looking like it's going to get a retrace. It's just having a clear breakdown of that level. Disney's selling more now. QQQ's selling more now. Let's take a look at SoFi again. SoFi's still coming down. FSLR had a decent bounce, still down 2%. Nvidia's seeing more distribution and selling. So Nvidia's starting to come down more now. You now only have 1, 2, 3 sectors green. So all sectors are starting to roll over. You have utilities which are down the most. So XLU is definitely down the most. XLU is actually getting pummeled. Look at that move down in XLU. It's actually into a nice little potential day trade level at the 50. You may have a long level on XLU at around this 67.56. Disney's catching a small bounce. Google still, we're in the money about 26 cents. Still watching that closely. Take a look at Disney. Disney went as low as, what was the low here? 90.75. So if you picked up Disney, nice job. I'm still long 1/6 position at 90.92. Let's look at Google again. Google's starting to come down. Markets are catching a minor bounce here. So you're seeing Apple trying to bounce, Tesla, Pack W's up 8.57. AI's up 11%. Take a look at AI. So AI, we discussed shorting AI, but this one's still looking strong. You have the 50 moving average coming up. But that's a big move to the upside. You do have some resistance points here along these pivots. This was a consolidation zone breakdown. But again, you would want to wait for a steeper upsloping resistance. Google is now coming down a little bit more. And remember, Google was down about 1.22% in the pre-market. And then it had a big face-ripping rally to the upside. Apple still seeing downside. Tesla's getting a bounce. So Tesla, if you get a retrace on Tesla back to, let me see here. If you get a retrace back to this neckline here at 167, it's a short trade. And then you just use a 5-minute close above this red bar high as your stop loss. So you're risking about 59 cents. You can even do a tighter one. If you do get a true close above this neckline, that could be your stop out. But it is on watch for a potential continuation move to the downside. But the markets are getting a nice bounce here. Markets are getting a nice bounce as we speak. Disney had a move up. We were positive. We're basically flat now. I think we can look for about at least a similar move back up. I would hope for more. I would like to see a retrace back to these pivot zones around 91.30, 91.27. I think that's definitely possible on Disney. Alright guys, I'm going to put an in the money stop at 118 on Google. An in the money, so I'm locking in 26 cents on Google. I'm locking in 26 cents on Google. And it is falling more now. Alright, I'm moving that to now 117.90. 117.90 stop on Google. 117.90 cents. I'm locking in 36 cents on Google. We'll keep falling now. Every 10 cents we fall, I'll adjust my stop loss. So we're basically trailing it. It's a mental trail here going in. So once we hit 117.60, I'll move it to 117.80. We're very close. Alright, I just moved it to 117.80, my stop. 117.80 on Google. So now we're locking in 46 cents. 46 cents on Google. We're almost about to get stopped out. We're still riding it. We're still riding it. Has not hit our level yet. 2 cents away. Spiders are weak though. Google's about 2 cents from stopping us out. I'm going to let this 5-minute candle close, so I'm not stopping out on just a pierce of it. I'm going to stop out on a 5-minute close. We have 30 seconds. Spiders are still trying here. Apple's still weak. Microsoft's trying to get a bid here. Disney's still weak. Alright, so Google did not get a 5-minute close above our 117.80, so I'm still riding it. Now I do have a hard stop at 117.80. That candle actually closed at 117.79, so it shows you that our stop loss is in a really good place. So now I'm putting a hard stop at 117.80 since we have a new candle. But we gave that full 5-minute close to see if it would stop us out, and it on the last second it dropped back down below, but it's trying to move back up now. So 117.80 hard stop, but we're still in the trade on Google. Markets are still looking a little fragile here. It just looks like it's potential slow bleed today, and those are dangerous. Whenever you see slow controlled selling, it's always means it's a strategy, a systems-based strategy that is being implemented. So we already have one winner in the books on on Disney. We're short Google and we're long Disney again. Nvidia's coming back down. Qs are also still negative on the session, seeing some bearish consolidation to move lower. Remember how we spoke about Tesla? If you got to retrace back to that neckline, which it doesn't even look like you're getting, it's still a short opportunity, Tesla. The trend is down, and it's not looking like it's going to get a favorable backdrop from the QQQ here. So the Qs are still coming. All right, I'm going to move my stop now to 117.70. 117.70. So now we're locking in 56 gains, 56 cents per share. 117.70. Spiders are looking a little bit more weak right now. Nvidia just made a new low. Apple's testing the lows. Google's still holding up okay. I'm looking at the sectors now. You only have 3 green sectors, and you only have 1 positive indice. So the Russell's positive, Qs are negative, Spiders negative. Energy is positive, materials positive, financials are positive. We're about to be stopped out of Google for a... Nope, we're still good here. We're locking in 56 cents though per share. I only have 100 shares, but nonetheless, it's still going to be a win in our pocket. Regardless, we're banking 56 cents per share. Nvidia is still weak, coming down some more now. Spiders are seeing some more distribution. 4 cents away from being stopped out of Google. 5 cents away. And that's a hard stop now. I'm not letting the 5-minute candle close. I'm just going to hard stop it on Google, whether we bank 56 cents or it falls more. It is a hard stop. I'm seeing Apple break down, so take a look at the Qs. They're falling even more now. Big breakdown on the Qs. Tesla is a short continuation. However, Tesla's not making new lows, which is holding up, and the Qs are making new intraday lows. So that's a little bit of a bearish divergence, which means that if these Qs do get a bounce at some point, Tesla could bounce above that neckline. But right now, markets are looking fragile to move lower. Even the S&P breaking down a little bit more now. So not healthy price action right now. Obviously, we're in the money on Google. We're slightly out of the money on Disney. SoFi is coming into a good support. Disney next add level is this 90.42. 90.42 I will add, so it's basically about 50 cents lower. Let's look at PayPal. So Google's still breaking down. Qs are still breaking down. All right, if this hits 117.50, I'm going to move my stop to 117.60. So we're going to be banking basically 66 cents on the trade. All right, I'm moving my stop to 117.60 on Google, 117.60 stop. So we're banking 66 cents now. We're just continuing to trail this stop. Look at the spiders break down. Look at the Qs break down. The big question is, will the Russell break down today? So the Russell's positive. If the Russell starts to give up its gains, we're going to have a nasty sell in this market because it would be a triple indice confirming downtrend along with the Dow Jones Transport putting in very bearish price action. You have the broker dealers, which we touch base on with our members regarding this horrific pattern that is triggered on the downside. So not a lot of strength right now in this market as we speak. But it's a slow and controlled sell-off, which, oh, I just got stopped out of Google here, guys. 117.60. 117.60 cover on Google. So that is a nice gain. That is a 66 cent gain times 100 shares. Thank you very much. We're obviously still long Disney. So I'll pull up this Disney chart here. And the QQQs we'll keep an eye on. So Disney, we're slightly out of the money, but that's okay. This one's still very oversold. Let's look at the spiders. Spiders are still hanging in there. I'm still looking at a Tesla continuation short to the downside because the markets are looking rather fragile today from my point of view. So spiders are actually losing key support here, which we have to be mindful of. You have Coinbase, which is almost negative. I'm seeing home builders seeing some distribution as well. Nike's getting hammered as well. Nike's down 1.5%. So a lot of important names are showing lots of weakness. Look at that pop on Disney. We're in the money now. Wow, that came out of nowhere. Jeez. That pop truly came out of nowhere. Nice move on Disney there. And you have all sectors red now except for the XLF. So all sectors have gone red except XLF. So we may have a confirming downtrend. We do have a downtrend that is pretty much confirmed already today. I'm not saying it can't move up, but when you have all sectors green at the start of the open and then within 45 minutes all of them turn red except for one, that's a big red flag. That is an absolute big red flag. And I'm still looking at KRE for a potential short. Basically, I'm looking at the 37.60 level for a short, 37.60. All right, I'm going to put a break-even stop loss on Disney here at 90.92. I'm seeing the market's very fragile. So break-even stop loss at 90.92 on Disney. I'm not liking the fact that Disney's the markets are very weak today. So break-even stop loss at 90.92 on Disney, and we'll just have to see how that plays out. Apple's still selling. Home Depot's still selling. Home Depot reports earnings tomorrow. That's going to be a little interesting in my point of view. All right, Disney, I'm moving my stop now to basically $91. $91 stop on Disney. Locking in 8 cents per share. $91 stop on Disney. Spiders are very weak, so protect this trade. Protect this trade on Disney. Meta's still green. Microsoft's down on the day. AMD's starting to see some more weakness. AMD actually has a nasty topping formation that could send it lower. Alright guys, I'm looking at a 91.05 stop loss now. 91.05 stop loss on Disney. We're locking in another 13-cent gain. So keep Disney. Disney's catching a nice bounce here. So it's nice to see the markets continuing to trickle lower, but the long trade that we did pick on Disney is catching some momentum. All right, look at this. I'm moving my stop to 91.10 now. 91.10. We're locking in 19-cent gain per share on Disney. 91.10. I just got stopped out. Boom. Stopped on Disney at 91.10. That is 3 for 3. Wonderful, wonderful job there. Another 19 cents. So 2 winners on Disney. 1 winner on Google, and that's fairly well. I mean, on the first trade on Disney, we made 13 cents, and on this trade on Disney, we made 12 cents. That's 25 cents on Disney per share, times a couple hundred shares there, so that's nice. Little profits in the morning, 3 for 3, and now we can just sit back, kind of relax, see where this market trends to. But when you see weakness in the spiders and the Qs, it likely means this market may continue to see some more downside as things progress. You're even seeing ORLY, which I touched base on in my insider selling and report. So this is the cool thing about the new report that I'm going to be doing is tracking a lot of the insider buying and selling. And it's not a matter of fact of just tracking the insider buying. It's kind of reading between the lines in comparison to how much they're selling relative to how many shares they hold. So it's all relativity when you look at buying and selling. Everything's relative because someone could maybe do a small sell and not really affect their share size, and someone could do a really big sell that does affect their share size, which kind of raises a little bit more red flag. But ORLY saw a big sell side pressure on May 12th, I believe it was last week, and now look, you're getting some downside pressure. So very, very interesting, I'm finding. Even Sell H saw some selling. That is very interesting to pay attention to, but that's holding up on the session. Markets are holding up right now. Spiders are trying to catch a small little bounce here, so we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. But right now you did technically get rejected off resistance, and you haven't hit massive support yet until you really test this kind of this breakout wedge that you had. You know, you have a minor support here, but nothing crazy. The volume today is fairly light, so there's always a chance that it could move higher. You know, you only have 8.61 million shares right now. That's fairly light. That's pretty light. So to me, it's concerning that we're selling off on light volume, but whenever there's light volume, we could always see a bounce at some point in time. Even gold is under a little bit of pressure now, seeing some distribution. Nvidia is making new lows. Nat gas is still putting in bullish consolidation. That actually looks like it might be a potential long trade to go higher. I'm watching Nat gas very, very closely because I do like it for a potential long. You're seeing the long end yields actually having a pretty decent surge. The 10-year yield's up 1.12. Newmont is catching a nice bid for the GDX. And Tesla's still putting in bearish consolidation to move lower. So Tesla's a short here. I'm not going to play it because I am going to wrap this stream up fairly soon here. We'll stay with you for a couple minutes in case anything crazy happens, but this is still bearish consolidation on Tesla. My same thesis of a trend continuation to the downside remains. I think shorting at these levels provides a high risk or a high reward opportunity. Obviously, it's better if you get the complete retrace, but Tesla's putting in some bearish price action as of now. It could change it, but as of now, it's bearish price action. Steel stocks are holding up. AMD, Nvidia are still weak. Apple's trying to bounce, so that's going to lift the market here. Will we see more of a downtrending day? That's the big question. AR is up nicely. Nat gas is still holding most of the gains. Spiders are trying to catch a small bid here. So spiders are still negative. Still have all sectors red except for financials, but they're holding on to a thread. So now we're going to see all sectors turn red, it looks like, which doesn't bode confidence for the market. And if you look at the Dixie's starting to catch a bid here. If the Dixie goes positive, this market's going to see more selling. Mark my words. But the financials are still holding on to some positive gains. But really, if you get to if the financials fall another 2 cents, basically to 31.90, it's flat. And if they go below 31.90, that's officially negative. All sectors would be negative. And the only indice that would be positive would be the Russell. So it's looking like the trend to the downside is going to resume, especially if the financials go negative. They're holding on positive by 2 cents here. By 2 cents. So just be careful about this potential day. I'm seeing weakness in AMD, weakness in Bitcoin starting to creep in. Financials are still hanging in there. It's catching a little bit of a bid higher. But the spiders are seeing another round of selling occurring. Let's see if we get more. Even Coinbase went negative after it was up a couple percent. AMD's triggering another large, actually AMD's triggering right now another larger head and shoulders pattern. So it has triggered one, which takes you down to about 91.90. And that could play out today. But there's a larger one that if it does trigger the first initial one, take a look at this. So if AMD triggers this neckline on an hourly close, you could move lower. And the downside target would take you to about, we're talking about a move down to 87.60. You did trigger one, this little one here, which takes you to about, I have on the chart here, a downside move around 92 bucks, give or take. So you kind of have two little levels here. 92 is where the initial smaller Head and Shoulders takes you to. So right around that dotted line. And then you have a bigger one here if we break this next little neckline, which takes you to about there. So you have two little levels that we have to pay attention to on AMD. That's for sure. But the markets are catching a small bounce here. A small bounce. Spiders, Qs, they're pushing up. Let's do a quick check on Tesla. Tesla's trying to push up. How about Google? Google's still hovering off of our cover level. Let's look at Disney. Disney had a stellar move to the upside. We could have banked way more, but that's okay. We still banked a winner. Win's a win. Alright, so we're approaching that 10:30 time frame. Let's do a nat gas check right now because that is intriguing me for a potential long trade. I'm seeing an initial move up, pullback, another higher high, another pullback. And basically you're still inside of this initial higher high here. On the hourly chart, let me pull up the hourly chart. 2 hour chart's extended. Hourly chart needs more consolidation, but you're still trying to move up again. And this is the thing about natural gas, is that since it's so beaten down, the initial stages off the low, it doesn't give you that full consolidation pattern that typically you would look for. Often they move ahead of the consolidation. Let's look at SoFi. SoFi is still coming down. Wow, look at this big move in the spiders. Huge big pop. Still inside of this red candle. Tesla just got its retrace. So this is now a short. Tesla is now a potential short. You can see it retrace to there. The bigger technical levels are retrace a bit higher. But Tesla is approaching the short level as we speak. The spiders have caught a nice bid. The dollar's trying to stair step its way higher here. See if Tesla gets a bigger breakdown here. AMD is still acting weak right now. So now you have 2-3 sectors of green. So some sectors are starting to show some signs of life, like energy, financials, and materials. But AMD is triggering a bigger sell-off here that I'm observing. It is triggering a bigger sell-off. And the Qs are still negative, but they are bouncing. Let's look at Google again. Google's still hovering. It's trying to go Google's back to the negative side. Spiders are having a nice bounce though. Alright guys, I'm pretty much, SoFi's coming into a long level, but it's not as strong because you got bearish consolidation there. It's down 11.25% without any meaningful bounce. And what I don't like is that the spiders had a big bounce here and SoFi got nothing. So that's relative weakness. That scares me a little bit. On that note, I'm going to call this live trading session to a close since we've covered and won 3 for 3 today. I just want to say congratulations. It's always nice to start a Monday off on the right foot, so we can be grateful of those winners. Thank you to the market for providing the opportunities in Google and Disney. And let's just see how the rest of this market shapes up today. But pay attention when you have Apple weak today and Microsoft also weak. And when I say weak, they're both underperforming the Qs. That's a little bit of relative weakness from the two larger companies. I'm not saying we can't float up on light volume, which it looks like we're doing now, but definitely be paying attention to those names because they can be headwinds for the overall market. Thank you all, and we'll see you on the charts tomorrow.